The NHL is horrified of the New York Rangers after an electric start to the season, and we also have some controversy revolving around Rangers captain Jacob Trouba once again. We're going to break it all down in this episode of Rangers Digest, but before we do, a quick reminder to hit that subscribe button. About 70% of you who watch our videos are not actually subscribed to the channel, so if you want to do yourself a favor, it's free. Hit that subscribe button and you get to stay up to date with everything New York Rangers. And guys, we're going to start with the hottest topic of the night. After a huge win against the Montreal Canadiens in Montreal, the New York Rangers continue their hot start to the season, only losing once, and that being in overtime to Utah. But there was some controversy last night, or controversy for everyone other than Rangers fans, I think, and we're going to break it down in this video. And I think any hockey fans that aren't Rangers fans that are going to watch this will have some very interesting opinions on it. So we're going to start with the hottest topic, like I mentioned, the absolute monster hit by Jacob Trouba on Barron as he was entering the zone last night. Now, I've seen a lot of discourse online, on YouTube, on Twitter, everything. There's videos floating around. A lot of people think it's a dirty hit. Some people think it's a clean hit. People think it was unnecessary, right? All of that. Let's break it down, right? So when the play's developing, you got a bunch of Rangers helping with some back pressure here. You can see Panarin's in the mix. You can see Zibanejad's in the mix, right? Coming back on the back check. To me, you know, if you're on the outside looking in, Barron should probably dump this puck in where he is here, or expect to get hit, because it's Jacob Trouba, right? Like, Jacob Trouba, the Trouba train holds no prisoners. We've seen that in the past. So you would think that maybe he would dump this puck in. So he elects not to do that, and Jacob Trouba says, okay, if you're going to try and make a skill move into the middle, make a deke or something, and try and cut into the middle, I'm going to hit you. I'm going to hit you. And a lot of people were saying that this hit was clean. And obviously, you never like to see somebody's head bounce off the ice. You never like to see that. And there was a little bit of that with Barron here once he, once he falls and hits the ice. You never want to see that. You never want to see an injury. But to me, this is a clean hit. If you look at this angle specifically, and we'll get into a couple other angles, this is a clean hit. Trouba's elbow is tucked, right? He's not leaning with the elbow. And the principal point of contact, if we look into some other angles here, is not the head. Maybe he gets a little bit of the head on the follow through. And of course, Barron, like I said, you never want to see it. Looks like he hit his head on the ice on the way down as well. So not, you never want to see that, but it was a big hit, and I think it was a clean hit. And I know a lot of, NHL fans, Jacob Trouba, maybe not the cleanest track record, right? But he plays the game physically. And I think some players have to recognize that, right? Maybe that puck should have been dumped in. But again, I think that this was a clean hit. I think that the elbow was tucked, as you can see from both camera angles here. The elbow is most certainly tucked here. Even on this angle, you can see that he's not leaning with his elbow whatsoever. And the principal point of contact to me, specifically in this angle, is not the head at all. It's the chest. And yes, Barron was kind of leaning and he was bent over a bit. So maybe he got him up a bit high on the follow through. Like I said, you never want to see that. But the hit itself, I think, is clean. And it's just Jacob Trouba doing what Jacob Trouba does. And like I said here on the follow through a little bit, Barron gets caught, I think. But I don't think Jacob Trouba was certainly not with the elbow, and I don't think he was trying to hit him in the head. And a lot of people may disagree with that, but I think that this was a clean hit, and this has definitely been a hot topic all over social media and everywhere this morning in a huge win. It's a story within a huge win, which we'll get to in a second. But again, what I have to say, I think it was a clean hit by Jacob Trouba. And again, a lot of people may disagree, but it's a monster hit, and this puck probably should get dumped in. If you see this screenshot specifically, look where the puck is. Like, you probably got to get that in deep. The Rangers got a lot of help coming back there in that situation. Trouba likes to hit and hit hard and huge hits. So never like to see the result, like I said, with the head kind of snapping back there. And obviously him hitting the ice. But I think it was a clean hit. But to move on, not from the rough stuff, but to a different player, we saw a side of Capo Caco that we didn't see last night either. So again, a huge win last night for the Rangers. And you see a lot of physicality from guys, you may not have seen in the past, right? Which I think is a good sign, because heading into the playoffs, you're going to need that out of certain guys. So, a nice little battle here with Evans. Some other Montreal Canadiens got into it too, but from David, like he says, love seeing this fire in Kakko. We didn't see that in him before. So maybe, you know, a lot of the Rangers got to start bringing it this year. And speaking of Kaapo Kakko and that line specifically, because I was very interested about that line heading into this season, I was like, it's going to be very interesting to see how they perform or if they just don't perform. And they have been performing. So the Cooley, Hedl, Kakko line at 5-on-5 this season, which is the Rangers' third line, goals are 7-0 for the New York Rangers. They haven't let in a goal yet. The inner slot shots, so high danger chances are, or essentially high danger chances, I guess, are 15-5 for the New York Rangers. And the expected goals are over 70% when this line is on the ice. This line is dictating play and dominating, honestly, their ice time, their share of ice. So I don't think you break up this line. I think, you know, to go into this a little bit, Peter Laviolette had a very interesting quote after the game last night, and there's still some decisions to make regarding the forward group, and that is from Peter Laviolette. And, you know, if you ask me, the second line's going. Lafreniere's had a great start to the season. I think that, you know, Panarin's had a great start to the season. You're not moving Trocheck off that line. The first line hasn't been, you know, necessarily dominant, but I wouldn't change that up. He's probably just talking about the fourth line because you are not touching this third line. This is great, especially at 5-on-5, and some of these guys don't really touch the ice on the power play anyway, but especially at 5-on-5, this is fantastic for the New York Rangers. Now, some stats to get into, because the Rangers have started this season unbelievable. They're 5-0-1 this season. They could have very easily beaten Utah in that game as well. I say that, but of course you lost the game. That is what it is, but you know, they could very easily be undefeated, just like the Winnipeg Jets. But with a record, and this is from Rangers PR, with a record of 5-0-1, the Rangers have set the franchise record for the longest point streak to begin a season. The Blue Shirts have also tied the team record for games played in 1931-32, so quite a while ago, for the longest road winning streak to start a season. So pretty great stuff there from the New York Rangers to start the year. And the Blue Shirts, 31 goals are the most for an NHL team through their first 6 games of an NHL season since the New Jersey Devils and LA Kings about over 30 years ago, 31 years ago. So that is pretty elite status that they're climbing up on here very early in this season. And some more records, some more history that they're making. For the first time in franchise history, the Rangers have scored at least 4 goals in each of the first 6 games of the season. The New York Rangers are the 4th team in the NHL since 1990-1991 to notch that incredible stat. So pretty good stuff to start the season here for the New York Rangers. And again, if you look at the chart, just to get back to the game itself last night, but this is a reoccurring theme over the start of the season. Look who's at the top there, right? You got essentially your third line at the top there. Schneider had a fantastic game too and got a goal. Good for him. Love to see that for him. And obviously Jacob Trouba up there had a great game, playing very physical. So you know, the Rangers did everything that they needed to do to be successful this season last night. So they have to continue to do that. They're off to a very hot start this season. So it's gonna be a fun season to watch. But let me know in the comments what you thought of Jacob Trouba's hit on Barron. I'm very excited to see what everyone has to say in the comments about this specifically. Again, I will repeat, I do think it was a clean hit, an unfortunate result with Barron kind of getting obviously maybe clipped in the head a little bit on the follow through, and then hitting his head on the ice, or it seemed that he hit his head on the ice. And let me know what you think about the Rangers start to the season so far and the third line. I'm very, I wouldn't say surprised. I knew a lot of these guys had it in them, but I don't know if I was expecting this out of them this early. So it's been a nice little thing this season. Obviously, very hot start to the season. So let me know what you think in the comments. And if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with everything New York Rangers.